We're back with Alden Chodash of AldenBoxing.com. This past week, Alden, on ESPN, Yuriorkis Gamboa rocks Seeger, a devastating first-round knockout. Did you like the way Gamboa approached this fight?
Well, there really wasn't much to say for this bout. It was a late replacement, and Gamboa did what he had to do. One difference in Gamboa I noticed was the fact that he kept his hands a little higher, and actually surprisingly, and maybe even ironically as a result, he got hit a little bit more in the time that it lasted against Seeger. Seeger is a guy that knows how to fight. He's gotten a title shot before and was stopped in 8 rounds by Daniel Ponce de Leon, nonetheless, but still he worked his way to that title shot. He's not a terrible opponent, but he was no match for Yuriorkis Gamboa, especially considering that he took the bout on very short notice.
Okay, Gamboa is saying he's going to fight at 126. Good move?
I probably could argue that because Gamboa is strong enough to knock out a strong 130-pound fighter, and I think he could make more money in the 130-pound division than he could at 126, so he could make some noise in either, but if he wants to make the most money, I think he'd be better inclined to stay at 130.
Okay, this coming Wednesday, ESPN, Jeff Lacy back in action takes on Epifanio Mendoza. Should we be seeing the Jeff Lacy of old?
Well, he has the opportunity against Epifanio Mendoza. Mendoza is a good puncher, but obviously he's a C-class fighter in terms of everything else, with the exception of punching power. But he's willing to mix it up, and he's knocked out good fighters, so he should give Jeff Lacy all the opportunities to look like the old Jeff Lacy, and Epifanio could take a pretty good shot, so it's a test to see if Jeff Lacy is still as ferocious as the IBF super middleweight title holder he once was, and he can get Epifanio out of there.
Okay, would you want to see Lacy take on Jermaine Taylor a little bit down the road?
It's a good bout for both of them. Jermaine Taylor is still probably on the rebound after 2 losses to Kelly Pavlik, and the second bout with Pavlik was fought at 168 or 166, which is close enough to 168. And nevertheless, Taylor actually looked good at that weight, maybe even more comfortable. So it'd be a good bout for both of them.
Okay, and of course this Saturday night, HBO pay-per-view, it's Margarito Cotto, much anticipated matchup. On the Countdown show, Jim Lampley said, was quoted as saying, "How do you beat Cotto?" What's your answer?
I don't think Margarito has the answer. That's the problem. He is a one-dimensional fighter. He's a guy that overwhelms you. He has to find a target in order to overwhelm fighters. And Cotto is no extremely elusive target, but he has a fight plan, and he's going to keep Margarito at long range long enough. And Margarito has very slow hands. And that's partly the reason that I think he's going to have trouble finding Cotto. I think Cotto's going to beat him to the punch in most exchanges, jab his way out. He's not going to run from Margarito, but if he keeps it on long range, he should have no problem beating Margarito to the punch, as well as scoring points with his jab.
If you were in Margarito's corner or leading up to the fight, what kind of strategy sessions would you have with Antonio?
His only way to his fight plan throughout his whole career, he's never really changes to overwhelm his opponents, so there is really nothing to do with that. It's just it's their job to make him even more ferocious and more determined to beat his opponents up. So there really is nothing to do in terms of technique. It's all about motivation with Antonio Margarito, because that's the way he fights.
Is there a way to lure Miguel Cotto into a Margarito-type fight?
If Margarito keeps coming, he'll be blessed to have Cotto fight back with him, because that'll create his opportunities. But I think Cotto's too mature in the ring and too determined and too focused on staying with his fight plan to really get lured in that kind of fight, which would be very dangerous.
Could this turn out to be a boring fight, for lack of a better word?
I think it could turn out to be a somewhat disappointing fight, similar to Shane Mosley. It was a good fight, but disappointing to the fans that thought it would be an all-out war between two fighters. It has all the makings to be an all-out war. I don't think it would be in Cotto's best interest to make it an all-out war, open up a lot of risk that Margarito can take advantage of. But I don't think it would be a terribly boring fight. It would be a disappointing fight to the fans that expect fight of the decade, or maybe not fight of the decade, considering that Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo was fought this year, but at least fight of the year.
Diego Corrales and Castillo this decade, you mean?
Yeah.
Right. And finally, your prediction is?
Yeah, I'll stay with it. I think Cotto will win the fight. He's the better all-around fighter, and he's not afraid to box. He has more dimensions to him than Margarito does.
Okay, so the most likely outcome is a Cotto decision, you're saying?
Yeah, most likely. Cotto's going to have a hard time getting him out of there, and if he tries, he can be in trouble with that kind of approach.
Okay. Thanks, Alden, for talking to us. Remember to check out aldenboxing.com and fightfan.com for more information. Bye-bye.